Perfume, scents and the sense of smell. Those are all things that you may or may not embrace in your current life. So in today's video, I want to change the way you think about perfume and smelling in general. And that's why I've prepared 3 different, very interesting facts about this topic. Number 1 is about the main advantage, I'd say, from smelling over all the other 4 senses that we have. Number 2 is about why smelling is the subtlest way of physical interaction and why this matters. And in the third part, I want to talk about the scarcity of perfume and what this actually means. So definitely stay tuned. Hallo, grüß Gott. Heartily welcome to my channel, and let's crack right into the video. Now, the first thing that people have to understand when it comes down to perfume, and that's actually the most important thing, is that scent directly goes into our long-term memory, okay? No other of our 4 senses can do that. Now, also note that in order to get there, perfume has to be bound with a sensory experience or an emotion, okay? So, for example, when you're in a perfumery and you smell different fragrances and you're not a fragrance expert, you hardly ever try different perfumes, the perfumes that are most likely gonna appeal to you will be scents that you have somewhere smelled before in life, okay? So, it's so important and so crucial to know for people who are not into this topic that in order to have a great perfume or a great scent that they enjoy, they have to bind this perfume or this scent with a specific situation, a specific time of the year, or just an occasion, okay? In order to be in the long-term memory and in order to remember this perfume when you smell it, okay? This is super important. For example, right now I'm wearing green Irish tweed. Today it's a beautiful spring day and it only reminds me of this time of the year because I only wear the perfume in this time of the year. So when I'd smell it in summer, I'd be instantaneously reminded of this spring vibe that's going on. Oh, and talking about spring vibe, for the next fact, I want to go outside. Okay, let's get to it. The second interesting thing you have to know about perfumes is that it's when you smell the subtlest interaction, okay? Now, among all the senses we have, we somehow have to interact with the world around us, you know? And by smelling, what actually happens is that the molecules, that the thing that we smell, or the fluid, whatever, gives off those molecules, okay? And we can detect them with our nose. So why is this of high importance? Now, if you have, for example, a piece of poo and Nutella, okay, side by side, and you can't see the difference, there are a few ways how you could distinguish what it really is, okay? So you could touch it, what you obviously don't want to do if you really can tell the difference. You could eat it, of course, what would be maybe even dangerous because you would expose yourself to harmful bacteria in the worst case. Or you could just smell it. And in this random example, this would be maybe the best idea or the best thing to do, because even though you could detect what it is, you also could be sure that it is what you smell, because you can't decipher the sense of smell. And this is another little thing that you always should bear in mind. For example, vision, you can be deceived. Like if it's an illusion, you can't really tell if it's reality or not, okay? So our brain doesn't know that. And for smell, there needs to be this very specific molecule, okay? And only this physical structure of this molecule can trigger this sensory experience and all the emotions that are bound to it, okay? So that's the second piece of information. Now the third thing I want to touch on is about the scarcity of perfume, okay? So at the beginning I said it, perfume is scarce. And what do I mean by that? Now, as I've mentioned earlier, I've sprayed on Green Irish Tweed by Creed, okay? And that it reminds me of all the good spring vibes and so on. Now, once this is gone, all the molecules are too distributed in the air to be detected. Well, there isn't a way to recreate those feelings, those emotions, those experiences, other than actually smelling this specific fragrance, okay? So always bear that in mind. This is very crucial in my opinion, and many people underestimate it. And that also implies that if you have like this emotion and you have the molecule, okay? Those are opponents. They mirror each other. And let's say Creed decides to not produce Green Irish Tweed anymore. The fragrance gets discontinued. Now there would be a finite amount of Green Irish Tweed left, and once the last spray on every bottle is done, there is no chance of getting this mirror opponent, as I call it, with all the emotions and so on bound to it. It's impossible to get that back, okay? And I personally think this is very interesting. So, those are all the 3 facts. I'll conclude inside.
So, to wrap this all up, number 1, perfume is the fast lane to our long-term memory. And in order to do that, it has to capture all the sensory experiences and all the emotions on its way. It's the subtlest interaction, physical interaction, because of the molecules that we detect. Now, because of the physical structure of these molecules, it's nearly impossible to decipher the sense of smell and, for instance, fake the nose into a different smell or something, and thus a different emotion or experience. And the third fact I told you was about the scarcity of perfume. And because all the molecules are physical entities, and once every molecule is too spread out in the air or used up, you can't recreate it, and you can't really get this vibe and these feelings that you've bonded to, again, apart from smelling the fragrance. And I said, like, this is the opponent, the mirroring effect between the molecule and the sensory experiences / emotions. So that's it for the video. I hope you liked it. Definitely do write me a comment what you think about this type of video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.